What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Valley Sports Talk. Today we're back with our third episode. Today we are going to be talking about NHL Awards so far, and we also go in depth about the NHL Central Division. As always, my name's Noah, and I'm here with
Brandon and Max.
And today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the NHL Central Division. We're going to be going over our top 5 players in the division, our top 5 underrated players. Then we're going to take a break from that. We're going to go into our season awards. We're going to just go over the Hart, the Norris, the Vezina, the Calder, the Selke, and the Jack Adams. And then we are going to go into real or fake with the Central Division. It's just going to be based on hockey today because we are starting a new posting schedule, which will be every Tuesday at 3 and Saturday at 3. So speaking of that, we will jump right into our top 5 players of the NHL Central Division.
Okay, since Max is our lead hockey analyst, we'll let him go first.
Okay. So my
I'm sure you pronounce these names.
it's not even that hard.
Okay.
My top 5 players from the Central Division are Patrick Kane. That's a tough one. Isn't that tough to say, Brandon?
You got that one right.
Victor Hedman.
Okay, you're 2 for 2.
What's his first name?
Victor.
No, next guy.
Alexander Barkov.
Yeah, okay. 3 for 3.
And then my 4th guy is John from the Florida Panthers.
What's his last name?
It's the Hubero guy. No? And number 5, I got the Tampa Bay goalie, Vasilevsky.
Okay, you pronounce Vasilevsky.
Yeah, exactly. But seriously, that's a good list. So
yeah, no, I have nothing wrong with it at all.
You just don't know how to say Huberto.
Yeah.
That
Sounds
Rivero
like-
guy.
I want to think of like the chicken restaurant. I don't know, like isn't there like a French?
Just think of like a pizza dough, Huberto.
No, like
Habanero? A pepper?
No, like there's like
Jonathan Habanero.
a French restaurant that has some sort of like chicken name and it's like dough at the end of it. I don't know.
You search it up while you're trying to figure out your
It's
names.
just very important information.
I'll go next. I got a pretty comparable list to Max. Just I have them swapped, one per player swapped out, and then just in different orders. Number 1, obviously I have Patrick Kane. Number 2, I have Johnson Huberdeau. Number 3, I have Alexander Barkov. Number 4, I have Victor Hedman. And number 5, I have Roman Josi.
Roman Josi. Okay, so my list in no particular order is Andrei Vasilevsky, Victor Hedman, Patrick Kane, Patrick Laine, and John Klingberg.
So you have a different list.
A little bit of a different list. We all have Patrick Kane.
We all have Kane. We all have Hedman.
I mean, the Blackhawks shouldn't be that good. Patrick Kane's getting up there in age, and he's got 22 points.
He's literally, like, you don't have Taves.
Taves hasn't played.
That's what I mean.
I thought you meant in my list.
No,
you're talking about the Blackhawks.
I'm talking about the Blackhawks.
You have Laine in there, and he hasn't done really.
Yeah,
much.
I don't have Laine.
Laine's only played 8 games, and he's got 6 goals in 8 games.
He's only played 1 game for Winnipeg.
Why is it saying that he's only played 1 game overall?
Because he got traded, and then he had to go
But
through.
they should show his stats over. But he's playing well.
Yeah, he's playing really. He's 8 games.
I mean, he got sacked.
8 games, 6 goals. He got sacked, but then the next game he got into a fight. I like to see that. He stuck up for a teammate.
Yeah.
He's getting the respect of John Tortorella.
Yeah, that's how you got to do it. But if he can produce at a 6-goal every 8 games ratio here.
So why do you have Klingberg?
Why do I have Klingberg? Just because, honestly, the Stars, even though they made the Cup last year, they're just a team that doesn't strike me as good, especially when you don't have Tyler Seguin. And he logs the most minute on that team. He's a point-per-game defenseman, and he's just... when I think of the Dallas Stars, he's their first guy I think of. So yeah, he kind of strikes me as like the backbone of that team, and without him, I don't think they're even close to 500.
So I personally still have Roman Josi as a better defenseman as John Klingberg.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Predators aren't very well.
No. They're getting old.
They're also they don't have Pecorini's old. He's not even starting anymore. But personally, I just still have Roman Josi over him.
Yeah.
Sure, they're doing bad, and then I don't have Laine. Laine probably maybe top 10 in my eyes in that division.
Yeah, for sure.
So personally, I just think Jonathan Huberdeau is a very good player, and Barkov is also a very good player. And then the Panthers are shocking lots of people, and they are currently second in that division.
Yeah, the
So
Panthers have been great.
I believe that is why I had to include 2 Panthers on my list.
I think what was holding the Panthers back was being in the Atlantic Division.
That's a hard
Probably.
division. It was a hard division. Now they
Yeah.
have a somewhat. I mean, it's competitive, but it's somewhat easy, as we like to say. Like, we don't think we'll go into this later in our really fake, but we don't think the Blackhawks are all that and stuff like that. So yeah.
We all had Hedman.
Oh, and Hedman, yeah, you had Hedman.
I mean, they're one of the best teams in the NHL. Point per game player. He's a defense. He won the what's the trophy called?
The Norris.
No, the most valuable in the playoffs.
Oh, jeez.
Anyways, he won that one.
What's it called?
Yeah, they're doing this without Nikita Kucherov. So yeah, you got to figure out what that's called. I'm so bad with trophy names.
Jackson Grizel came in,
Conn Smythe.
Conn Smythe trophy.
told me that Barkov is the most underrated player right now.
Barkov is the most underrated player. Well, we'll get to that in a bit.
We'll get to that in a minute.
I just wanted to make sure that his presence was made aware, and he wanted to come on the next segment, he said, for any hockey talk. So.
Like next week or something?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Always welcome. Always welcome.
Do you have any arguments about your top 5 players that you can pronounce?
Well, I would say
None of us
that-
have talked about Huberdeau yet, so you could speak about
The
him.
Hibero guy.
Yeah, that habanero.
Okay.
What do you got to say about him?
I don't know what to
What
say.
team does he play on?
I know what team he plays on, the Florida Panthers.
Okay.
And I think he was number 3 overall pick back in the day, right?
No,
Oh,
that's something I don't know.
I think he is. I think
he
he.
is
I
a
don't think.
number
I don't
3
think it's
overall
09.
He's up there, but
He's behind. Who was drafted in that year?
he has been
20
great. I'm not arguing with you
2011?
there.
He was 3rd overall though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2011.
Who was you behind?
I think Hedman maybe. Yeah.
Maybe actually.
No.
Landeskog
Oh.
Landeskog.
went 2nd, and Nugent Hopkins.
Oh,
Oh.
Nuge. The Nuge.
I'd personally rather have Huberdeau over Nugent Hopkins and Landeskog.
Landeskog
Learning
and
also that
Huberdeau are a close one for sure.
That's interesting. Actually, Hopkins has been ripping up this year. Just saying.
Well,
For some reason,
yeah. I
Who?
Hopkins actually has been doing very well.
Oh, Nugent Hopkins. I was thinking, who the heck Hopkins? DeAndre Hopkins? We're talking hockey here. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, personally, I'd rather have Huberdeau over Landeskog and Hopkins.
Oh, Mika Zibanejad is in that list too, eh? And that's in the same
I don't
draft.
think-
Why are we talking about Mika's advantage yet?
He's doing really well, isn't he?
Not this year.
Not
He's
this year, but
struggling.
he did
He's
well
struggling
last
very.
year.
Yeah, this year's not going too well.
He's struggling a lot.
But last year he was very good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about everyone we talked about in our top 5.
I believe so.
Everyone's
Is there
wanna
anyone
move
that you didn't like in his top 5?
Other than
Patrick
Line
Laine.
And Laine
I
is
can
actually
see.
playing
I can see
well.
the argument for Klingberg, but I don't agree with Line at all.
That's fine.
Fair enough.
So we will now move into our top 5 underrated players. I'll go first. I got number 1 most underrated player in that division, and maybe all of hockey, Alexander Barkov. Number 2, Dylan Larkin. Number 3, Ryan Ellis. Number 4, Alex DeBrincat. And number 5, Joe Pavelski.
In my top 5, again in no particular order, I got Dylan Larkin, Jonathan Habanero, James Roslovic, Philip Forsberg, and then I'm gonna pull a Max. I'm gonna try, but I don't know if this is how you pronounce it. It's the Chicago Blackhawks goalie, and his last name I think is Lankinen. I'm not sure.
Pull him.
Who's in your top?
Pull
5?
them, Max. Who's in your top 5 underrated, Max?
My top 5 underrated starts off with Connor McDavid.
Roslovic.
Roslovic.
Roslovic,
What's
yeah.
his first name?
I think it starts with a J.
Is that Jacob Roslovic?
No.
Jack.
Jack.
Jack Ross.
Jack
Roslovic.
Ross.
Did I say Jacob? I might have said Jacob.
Anyways, no, I actually from other knowledge I've gotten before the podcast, I've heard that he's very good in his own zone, and he's been ripping it up from junior and college, and he was kind of unknown for a while. Seems
With
like
the Jets, he kind of got buried.
He did
Yeah.
get buried in
Yeah.
that depth chart. That's why
Basically,
he wanted to trade out.
Yeah.
He wanted to trade with. Lonnie didn't request a trade, but he wanted out.
Yeah,
and
I'm happy for
I
him.
don't even think they were putting him in a top two lineup.
Yeah,
Right?
I think he was their third line
Yeah,
center.
exactly.
And now he's playing as the Columbus second line center, and he's a point per game.
He's a
on
point per
Columbus.
game, exactly.
He's been
And he's had some pretty nasty highlights so far.
Yeah, Columbus got a nice one out of that.
They did. So far they're winning that trade.
Basically, Roslovic got traded for a third-round draft pick.
Yeah, basically.
That's crazy, and he's doing really well.
Yeah,
you traded away a point-a-game player for a third-round draft pick.
Right now, Columbus is winning that trade.
Oh yeah, I think they will for the remainder of life.
All right, so top 5 underrated. I didn't even finish.
You didn't.
You said Roslovic.
You said Roslovic,
but then you started talking about him.
We started talking about him.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Larkin was my number 2.
I think we all had him. Yeah.
3 was Devin Krat.
The Brinkett?
Devin Krat sounds better, man.
Democrat?
Alex Democrat?
And Pavelski was my number 4. And then Aho, is that how you pronounce it?
Sebastian Aho,
Aho.
yeah. Yeah, that's
Sebastian's Aho.
And that's my 5th underrated player. Yeah. And they're all, if you look at them, playing on teams that are actually doing quite well. So, yeah.
Except for Larkin.
Except for Larkin.
Yeah. Except for Larkin. The Sharks have been better than I thought they would be.
Sharks?
Yeah. They've won a game.
Like, we're not talking about the Sharks.
I know, but you said, oh no, Joe Pavelski's not.
Joe
on
Pavelski's on the
Sharks anymore.
Stars.
Oh,
That's
buddy.
funny. They're green.
Okay,
So you guys actually talk about Joe Pavelski because I don't have one.
Joe Pavelski is in my fantasy. I picked him up off waivers. This is the main reason why I like him.
he's helping.
He's helping me. He's up here somewhere. He's got 17 points in 12 games, 9 goals, 8 assists.
Yeah, that's good.
Nobody, like last year, the Stars were kind of surprised making it to the Stanley Cup final, and everybody thought they were going to be a write-off this year, or like not as good. Like they didn't think that they could continue up there.
Especially Tyler Seguin hasn't played a game.
Sagan's out, I'm pretty sure, most of the year.
Yeah.
But the Stars are over 500. They're about 6 points out of that playoff spot. There's still plenty of games left this year. You know, they started late because they had a COVID outbreak on their team. So a bunch of their guys probably weren't in the best shape that they could have been.
Oh, yeah.
But Joe Pavelski's just been leading that team. You know, everybody thought he was going to take a step back. He's like 35. So people thought he was going to start going on the decline, but he just keeps going up. So that's mainly why he's on mine. I think we all had Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, I think he's got to be there.
He's a great player on a terrible team.
Like, his stats don't show, but I was looking, like, in 400 career games with the Detroit Red Wings, he's got 275 points, and that might not sound like a lot, but on a team that has struggled the whole time he's been there, that's pretty good. I feel like if he was on any other team playing first-line role, he would definitely be a point-a-game player.
So, yeah, we all had him. You didn't have Barkov. Did you have Barkov?
I didn't have Barkov.
My top 5 underrated?
Yeah.
No.
I'm the only one that had Barkov. He's the most underrated player in the league, in my opinion.
Might be.
He's arguably the best player on the Florida Panthers.
So I regret not putting him in my top 5 because I was given special information that he is a number 1 underrated player by Jackson. Yeah. So
if I had to do my list again, I'd probably switch out the Blackhawks goalie just because he's a goalie, so you can't really be underrated.
I mean, he has been playing well. He's like, the Blackhawks weren't supposed to be good, and now they're in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And he's been leading them to that, backing them up into a playoff spot. Yeah. So, I mean, he should be mentioned. I had Ryan Ellis. Personally, he's a very good defenseman on a crappy team again. Yep. He's on the Predators. The Predators are not doing very well, but he just gets overshadowed by the likes of Yossi and people like that. And I just think he's been a solid defense for the past 4 or 5 years that just doesn't get talked about.
I agree. I also have someone from Nashville. I have Philip Forsberg.
He's terrible.
He's terrible?
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't think he's that good.
I think he's great.
He's a point-a-game player. I was looking at the stats for Nashville, and he's a point-a-game player. He's got 14 points. The next closest player to him on his team has 8 points.
Yeah,
so I just saw 8 points.
Maybe he's a bit of a puck hog.
He's definitely not a puck hog.
Well, I mean, guys can see sort of like a what's the word I'm looking for?
Good players on bad teams.
Yeah, a trend.
Good players on bad teams.
Other than, like, for me, Barkov and maybe
But nobody
That's
talks
really
about
it.
Florida.
Nobody
because you
talks
got
about
Tampa.
Florida.
You got Tampa.
Nobody talks about Florida. The Red Wings stink.
And
Predators
Larkin's
are not doing very well.
good. Yeah.
The Blackhawks shouldn't be good, but they also have people like Taves and Kane who get lots of talk, even though
Taves
Taves hasn't played.
Yeah.
But he still gets talk. And then you got the Stars, who nobody really talks about the Stars at all either. It's like we're sort of like basing our lists on either people that don't get talked about enough, or like teams that suck that have great players on them.
Well, yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, the only good team, like we said, is Florida. But when you're in the same state as Tampa Bay, you're not getting.
Notice that we don't have any Tampa Bay players. Not a single. I don't think any of us named a Tampa Bay player because they're just that good. They're not underrated. They get talked about
They're
every
definitely
day.
not underrated. No, they all deserve to be there.
So we are gonna go right into our quarter of the season NHL Awards. Like I said, we're only doing the Hart, the Norris, the Vezina, the Calder, the Selke, and the Jack Adams mainly because the other ones are either voted by the NHLPA or they're like sportsmanship awards or like overcoming stuff awards, and we don't really know enough about going into like players' social lives about that to know that say somebody's a great sportsmanship player on the ice. Like we don't.
And believe it or not, we're not an HLPA, so
No.
so we don't really have a say in that.
That's
one.
what you guys probably think we are.
Yeah, like when you're talking about like Huber Pepper or whatever, I can't just. You'd think we were, but we're definitely not an HLPA.
Do you guys want to go one award at a time?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll start off with the Hart. The Hart's the basically the MVP.
The easiest.
I think you guys both have the same player, and I have a different player.
Yeah, it's because you're biased.
That's yeah, okay. You can say that.
Oh, by the way, Ben Simmons put up 42 points last night. 9
Tobias
rebounds.
Harris put
That's
up
because
34.
that's
assists.
because Joel Embiid was out.
What?
Joel
Tobias
Embiid
Harris put
didn't
up
play.
34 still.
Yeah, well. still pretty good.
Trust me, Joel Embiid's in fantasy. He didn't play.
So we'll go. We're talking about hockey though. We're
just
talking
saying,
about we're talking about
42-9.
basketball next on Friday.
I can't believe you guys slander Ben Simmons so much.
Don't slander. He's just. Yeah.
You guys
Did they
don't-
win?
Yeah,
No.
they did.
Did they? No, they lost to the Jazz.
Whatever, man.
They did. They did lose to the Jazz.
Anyways,
I-
the Hart Trophy.
The Hart Trophy in hockey.
Connor McDavid. It's got to be 30 points, 17 games. The team has been okay. Above 500 is definitely okay for the Edmonton Oilers. Without him, they're bottom. Without him, they're Ottawa Senators level. He's my Hart winner.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a logical decision here. Connor McDavid. If you decide to go with someone other than Connor McDavid, like, let's say, I don't know, the guy that's doing almost as good as him, but not as good as him, his teammate, Draisaitl. I mean, I see why you'd want to take him, but he's just not doing just as well, to be honest. And we all know, I think if you were to take one off the team and the other, I still would take Connor McDavid on the Oilers on his own than Draisaitl on the Oilers on his own, I would have to say. As much as I like Draisaitl, I do think he's better as a complementary piece than as a number one piece. So
They don't play together though. They're on different lines.
yeah, but still, in what their roles are as for their team overall. Like, don't get me wrong, they're on a different they're on a different line, but I still think one produces in a different way than the other at the end of the day, just
Agreed.
to a little bit of a degree.
But also, I put Draisaitl as my Hart. I took into account plus minus. Draisaitl's line scores way more than McDavid's line does because Draisaitl plays with Nugent Hopkins, so they get more scoring chances. McDavid has to do it all himself.
Honestly, Edmonton's second line's better than their first line.
Yeah, you got Zach Cassian playing with McDavid just out there to protect him when he does nothing. I also put Draisaitl there because he's got a 58% face-off win. So most of McDavid and Draisaitl's goals are scored on the power play.
Yep.
And Draisaitl takes that draw. So if Draisaitl doesn't win that draw, they don't have a chance to set up. They have to go back, get the puck, because I'm assuming if the other team wins the draw, they'll have to set up. So without Draisaitl winning those draws, that doesn't lead to half McDavid's points right there. So personally, that's the reason I took into effect that Draisaitl. I don't think they really take that into effect, but if I were picking the Hart, I would personally go into more advanced stats. But I see your guys' points for McDavid, but I just have.
Well, that's a good
Draisaitl
point
over.
because Draisaitl won it last year. So. They
Yeah.
take that stuff into account, obviously.
Yeah, I would just have to say, from my perspective, it seems like McDavid's been on a more dominant run than, although their stats are almost
They're very alike.
similar. They're very similar, but
McDavid's got 30 points. Draisaitl's got 26.
yeah, he's leading in goals and assists.
No, he's not leading goals. Matthew's leading goals.
I'm talking about in comparison to Draisaitl.
He got one more.
Well, he's leading. That's called.
Okay.
That is called leading. Having more.
But yeah, so I see, like I said, I see your guys' point for McDavid, but personally, I went into advanced stats and I will take Draisaitl over McDavid. But I could 100% go with McDavid.
Yeah, I understand that.
So we'll go Norris.
Wait, I'm just curious. Who would be, if you guys had to cut out those two, who would be your third choice?
Marner.
Mine would be Marner too.
Yeah.
Not because Leafs bias, but the Leafs are the
I'd
best
also-
team. Leafs team are the best team in the NHL
So
right
is
now.
Marner
points-wise.
better than Austin Matthews this year?
No, he just-
Marner's
He's
sets up Matthews.
yeah, like Marner has 23 points. 16 of them are assists. He's got 7.
I have stats here. Matthews has 20 points, but he's got more goals than assists.
Yeah, and he has the most goals in the league.
Yeah,
right now. I also could make an argument for Patrick Kane up there.
yeah. Patrick Kane
He's been tearing up. He's basically has the same stat line as Marner right now, with a pretty weak forward group.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so those would be the guys I would have up there. We'll move on to our Norris Trophy, which is the best defenseman. I think we all have the same guy.
Victor Hedman.
Yeah, we all have Victor Hedman.
I mean, I was just looking at the stats. Tampa Bay is 4 points behind tops in the NHL. 3 points behind tops in the
Hedman's just so
NHL.
consistent.
And they've played 2 less games, so you could argue they're the best team in the league and no one can say anything about it. And they won the Cup last year, and you just think about the best defense on arguably the best team, and that guy is Victor Hedman.
The only other guys you could really have a argument for is maybe Quinn Hughes, but he's on a bad team.
And he gives the puck away.
His plus minus is -14.
Yeah, it's not.
Wow.
And then the other guy you could maybe have a thing, and personally I don't like him at all, is Jeff Petrie. But
Even though he's
I-
only
You
a
could have
plus
him up there
13.
so far.
He's a plus 13 and he has 6 goals, 9
Nice.
assists. That's not bad. For
He had a really good
defenseman.
start.
he has a really good start, but Montreal has been on a skid recently, and Tampa's been just straight up the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think anyone's gonna argue with that.
I don't think anybody really doesn't argue. This is where you guys are going to argue with me. We're going to go with the Vezina,
Yeah, I heard
which
yours,
is
and
the best goalie. People may have heard mine before we
I
started
heard
recording,
yours. You
and
know what though? It's
he already got mad at me.
I didn't. I mean,
Not
I can
mad at
see
me, but
it.
he can. Yeah, exactly. He can see it.
I can. See
But I went with a long shot. I'll let you guys.
I
go
wouldn't even
first.
say it's a long shot. The only reason I don't like your guy. I mean,
Yeah,
you
well,
might as well say because we're
I
talking
think-
about him. The only reason I
or-
don't like your guy is because he splits time.
So I
But-
have Marc-Andre Fleury as my Vezina, and I'm pretty sure both of them have Vasilevsky.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So we will go into depth to that because I have Fleury.
I mean, Fleury's 7-1.
He's 7-1. Out of the starter, I'm still gonna call him a starter because him and Leonard.
He's played 8. Leonard's played 5. So
Okay,
he's
so
starting.
he's starting. Out of these he's the first. He has the lowest goals against and the highest save percentage in the league out of starting goalies. I don't count Peter Mrazek, like he's got a great one, but Carolina has not played that very many games. Like his time in net is 182 compared to Fleury's 878. Yeah, you got Vasilevsky's played 719 minutes in net, and he's got a 1.92 and 0.93. But Fleury was supposed to be the backup going into the season. He was like projected as the backup. Like whenever they signed Leonard to a giant extension, you're not gonna expect Fleury. Like they're thinking of trading him this offseason.
Yeah.
And he comes out and proves why he still should be the #1 goalie on a good team. Also, like I said, leading the league in save percentage and goals against average, and I think record probably too.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
close
gotta be-
close with Vasilevsky. It's also Pittsburgh bias. You know, I love him. He's a former Penguin.
I mean, the more I look at his stats, the more I agree with you. Like, I'm looking, Vegas is 10-2-1.
Yeah, but
Fleury's-
Vasilevsky's stats are better.
Fleury's, yeah, but he's played more. Fleury's played 8 games and only let in 11 goals, which is
How many?
mind-blowing.
I don't know what Vasilevsky's stats.
And Robin Leonard started 5 and has allowed 15 goals.
Yeah, Leonard's not been very good. Fleury's been the backstop of that.
But Leonard's still 3-1. Vegas is just a really
Fleury
good
also,
team.
I want to put this out. Fleury has 2 penalty minutes.
Does he?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
I
Attaboy.
don't know why. Another guy.
I'm looking, he hasn't been a star in any of the games. He's got no first, second, or third stars, which is crazy. He's got 2 shutouts. Does he not have a star?
He's not the best save percentage.
The only people that are above him in shutouts are Semyon Varlamov, who I also considered for this award, and John Gibson, who I also considered for this award, but I didn't put him up there because the Ducks sucked.
Honestly, I think Fleury and Vasilevsky are definitely are in the top 3 if you were to end the season right now.
Varlamov, Vasilevsky, and Fleury. That you said?
I just said Vasilevsky and Fleury.
Oh, okay.
2 of the 3.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You guys, I think we all know why Vasilevsky's up there for you guys.
Yeah, Vasilevsky's he's played 12 games. He's 9-2-1, 1.9 goals against, 9.3 save percentage. Solid season. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about Vasilevsky.
He's the best. Personally, in my opinion, he's the best goalie in the league. So you know what you're gonna get out of him.
Yeah.
And you put a great team in front of him, he's gonna do even better.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we have arguments for either one. We will now move into the Calder. I think we all have the same player again.
Yeah, I have Kaprizov.
I have Kaprizov.
Yeah, that guy Kaprizov.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know a lot about him because
nobody.
The Wild are just
nobody watches Wild.
The Wild are just kind of boring, but he's got 9 points in 11 games. I knew when he scored his first goal, I think it was an OT winner or something, or a game winner.
Yeah, it was OT winner.
It blew up all over the place. It looks, I mean, like I said, I don't know a lot about him. It looks like he's got a nice shot. He's a Russian, so he must.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he's you could say like, hey, he's not a rookie, he's 25, but yeah, he got drafted like 2014, 2015. I don't know what round or something he was.
Why is he considered a rookie?
Because it's his first. He played in the KHL for 4 years.
Really?
Like he played in the Russian league, so like technically it's his first year in the league, right?
Yeah, but
well, it's the same thing with he's 23.
23.
23.
How many years? He played?
135th overall.
135th.
So that would be
people. They didn't think him like they call it the Russian effect when you draft Russians. You don't know if they're gonna come to the NHL. Like, who was it? It was the guy that scored against the Leafs last night, Evgeny Dadonov. He played 3 seasons in Florida, went to the KHL for 4 years, then came back. You don't know with the Russians if they're gonna play in the KHL, if they're gonna actually stay.
What happens all the time? Like even Jesse Puljujarvi, he tried. He wasn't the greatest. He left. He came back, and now he's playing with Connor McDavid, and he's doing pretty good.
But yeah, he's like the only other guys in contention for this award is a guy on the Blackhawks. I don't know his name. And then you could also put people like Tim Stützle up there. You can put Josh Norris up there. Those are just guys on top of my head. There's probably a bunch of other guys you put up there. But we all just had Kaprizov up there because he's doing the most on a pretty, I don't know.
And he's only played 11 games.
Yeah.
And the Wild are above 500, which is pretty surprising. They're 6-5-0, so.
So yeah, who knows? Now we'll move into our Selke, which is basically the best two-way player. I think we all have different. Yeah, I think we all have different players.
Yeah, we do.
We'll just go in order like this.
Okay, I have Patrice Bergeron. The reason I have him is because he's 62% in the face-off draws. He's great at coming back in his own zone. I mean, I'm a Leafs fan, so I know way too much about Patrice Bergeron. You don't want to see him in his own defensive zone because he's probably going to take the puck from you. If you're trying to take an important face-off in their own zone, he's the one taken. He's probably going to win it. He's my guy.
Personally, I have Mark Stone.
How do you marry him?
Pardon? I don't want to marry him because he's beaten the Leafs like 4 times.
Yeah, like I said, I got Mark Stone as my Selke. You don't see very many star players kill penalties in this league. You don't see McDavid kill penalties. You don't see McKinnon, people like that. You don't see them kill penalties.
Matthews.
Matthews not kill penalties.
Yeah,
Marner kills penalties.
Matthews
Stone's not really a star player.
I'd say he's a top 20 player in the league.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, you don't see very many stars kill penalties. I don't have the same argument as B-Well because he doesn't play center. But I watched him in Ottawa. Whenever he was playing Ottawa, he was great on the defensive side. He always knew where to be and what to do with the puck. And I don't know, I debated putting Bergeron there. I considered putting somebody like Ryan O'Reilly there. Somebody like who else was that?
Well, I know, not to cut you off, but I know Mark Stone always seems to lead the league in takeaways. I mean, it's not showing up here.
Probably not in advance. I'll check.
But I find like the past couple of years, it's always Stone's in top 3 for takeaways in the league. He's always,
Shorthanded goals, he is.
I mean, he normally he's no, it doesn't even show takeaways, but he's got to be up there. He always takes the puck away. I can see how you got him there.
You wanna go?
Yeah, so I have Ryan O'Reilly. This guy's been kind of known to be this type of player and, follow this type of play. He's considered, I feel like, I don't know too much about his play, but what it seems like is he's really tight defensively against you, and you have very little room to kind of get by him, but he's also clever in the sense that he's tight against the wall, and whenever you're in the middle of the ice, he knows how to crash it so that you can't really get around him. Honestly, you can say that for a lot of people, but some reason this guy has consistently, been defensively brilliant and offensively contributed as well. So
he's great in the face.
yeah. Seems like he's a nightmare for anyone that matches up against him. So.
Well, yeah, if you're going in the corners against him, you got to feel his beard going down your neck.
That'd be bad.
That's scary.
So we'll move into our last award, which is the Jack Adams Award, which is basically Coach of the Year. I think all of ours are different again.
Yeah.
So again, we'll go this way. We'll go Max first.
So I had Bruce Cassidy for the Boston Bruins. Considering how the Boston Bruins were getting rid of all the players and how well they're actually doing this year, that was kind of my main reasoning behind the pick. You lost Krug, Chara.
Pasternak was out for a bit. Stars.
Exactly. So and what are they?
They're second in the league,
They're
but
10-2-2.
Yeah, exactly.
They're second in the league. They're behind the Leafs by 2 points, but they've played 2 less games than the Leafs. So
I'd still have them over.
Yeah,
they'll probably they'll.
And obviously there's great picks all across the board, but they're 4-0 at home, and they're doing well, so they're consistent.
Mine was John Cooper of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So boring.
I know.
So boring.
We're just picking the top team.
I'm kidding.
They are 10-3-1, 22 goal differential. They're won the Stanley Cup last year. Have a chance to win the President's Trophy again. I think they won the President's Trophy last year. Did they not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're like the first team to win the President's Trophy and then win the Cup.
Yeah, that normally doesn't happen.
That normally doesn't happen. No, the President's Trophy curse. But yeah, he's got a great team in front of him. They always perform to what he does, and so that's just mainly why I have John Cooper up there.
Did Boston win it last year? Actually.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
Boston might have won the President's Trophy. Tampa Bay won it 2 years ago,
2
and they
years
got
ago,
swept.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I still have John Cooper though.
Oh yeah, John Cooper for sure. I got Joe Quenneville. He's brought the Panthers. They're 5th in the league right now, 2nd in their division behind Tampa. I think the Panthers have always been, not always, I want to say in the last probably like 3 years, they've been a decent team. The only problem is they were fighting in the Atlantic Division behind teams like Tampa and Boston and Toronto and teams like that. So they never really made the playoffs like they definitely could have. But in this division, they're getting their chance to shine, and they're 9-2-2. And Joe Quenneville knows what he's doing. He's been to the Cups with the Blackhawks, and I think he's doing a good thing in Florida.
That is all for our season awards. We'll quickly go into our real or fake for the Central Division. So this time we included the Red Wings instead of not including the Senators.
I mean, they have more wins than the Sens.
They have more wins than the Sens, so that's why we decided to include them. We'll go one team at a time in no particular order. First, we will start off with the Blue Jackets.
The Blue Jackets? Oh, that one's hard. I gotta go last. I still am
go
kind
first,
of on the fence.
On our real or fake?
Yeah.
Like, on the Blue Jacket specifically?
Yes.
I have them as fake. Only because if you look back at their record right now,
They're like 500. Just hovering around it.
Yeah, they're 500 and they've lost the past 2, and their differential is pretty bad as well. They've got goals for 50, but they've got 60 goals against. They're not even doing that well at home. They're only 4-2-2. There's nothing consistent here, and until there's some proven sort of, plan of attack, I don't see why them being real, legitimate contenders.
I also have them as fake. Like I said in the last episode, I base it off the fact if they can go all the way. and I do not believe the Blue Jackets can even come close to going all the way. Right now, they are not even in a playoff spot. They should be better than the Blackhawks. Like Max said, their goaltending has not been very strong with a -10 differential. At the moment, I'm not high on their goalies, Merzlikins and Korpisalo. I personally do not like the way John Tortorella coaches, but that's just me.
I think he's an idiot. So
I do too.
I like the way he coaches.
Their trade is looking all right with Lane and Roslovic, but I still don't believe they are that team. Like, they still need to take the next step.
Okay, well, I'll just disagree with you guys to disagree. I'll make the Blue Jackets real. I mean, they haven't been great this year. We all know that, but I feel like they have the potential to be great. Their top two defense are, with Jones and Werenski, you got two top defense there. Their forward core is pretty good, especially when you add Laine and Roslovic. And I mean, if their goaltending tandem can play like they did in the bubble, I know they got swept against Tampa, but I mean, their games, like, they had a couple close ones. That one game went to like 5 overtimes, and they played great against the Leafs. If their goalies can get back to that sort of style, I think they can definitely make a run.
Okay. Next we will go to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Sure.
I'll go first. I also have them as fake. I'm going to go back to the goaltending. I don't think Peter Mrazek is a starting goalie.
You're forgetting about James Reimer, man.
Yeah, that's where I was going next. And James Reimer is way past his prime. He wasn't a top goalie on the Leafs, and now he's a backup. Peter Mrazek was kind of a journeyman. He's been to Detroit and then Philly, and then now he's there. And I just don't think he has it. I like their D-core personally with Dougie Hamilton and Jacob Slavin. I feel like that. I like their forward core, but I just don't. Again, I don't think they still have to take that next step. They need a goalie. If they get a goalie, then I will start taking them pretty seriously.
Was Mrazek hurt?
He must have been,
because Reimer's played 8 games.
Yeah, he has to be hurt then.
Reimer's been solid, 7-1. But with a goals against average of 3.
Yeah, that's not very good.
So you're having the Carolina Hurricanes as fake?
I do.
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with that strongly, because on the goalie situation, their differential is +14. They only have 36 goals against. The only other team that's close to that is Tampa Bay with 32. They've won the past 3 games. They have consistent offense, and I don't think is their defense that bad?
Their defense is really good.
Their defense is really good, so I don't see why I would consider them fake, considering what's below them right now is Chicago and Columbus and Dallas. Chicago, I mean, they're good, but we're still surprised. Columbus, we just talked about how inconsistent and how bad their goaltending is themselves, and Dallas has lost the past 5 in a row. And Nashville and Detroit, I'm not taking seriously at all. So it really just comes down to...
Okay, one sec. Can we just wipe out both the Predators and Red Wings as fake?
Yeah, we know that.
Just so we don't talk about them in depth.
Yeah, I'll talk about them real quick. Predators, they're
Sorry, I
old.
didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah.
Predators are old. They had their chance. They missed it. Their goalie situation hasn't been the best.
Yeah.
They thought Saros would come in and be the guy. He hasn't. The Red Wings are fake. I don't even know if they're fake. They're doing what they want to be doing, and that's lose and rebuild.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just get them off so we don't have to go into account. I
my Hurricanes
cut you off on the Hurricanes there, so go ahead, back.
But yeah, the Hurricanes I think are real. Just because they're 10-3, they've got a good differential. They got a lot of goals for. They got a good defense. They're 4-0 at home. You know, they've won the past 3 games. I mean, there's quite a bit of evidence that this is a real legit team right now. So yeah.
I have them as real as well. I really like their forward core. Their defense is one of the better defenses in the league. The only thing I don't like about them is their goalies, but people have been saying that about Carolina for the past 3 years, and James Reimer and Peter Mrazek have just seemed to make it work over the past couple of years.
Like if you look at their record, if you look at the differential, they're +14. Like,
neither of them are starting goaltenders, but they make it work. I don't know. Maybe it's their defense, but I mean, if one of the goalies, I mean, they've had James Reimer and Peter Mrazek together for I think 3 years now, and they brought them both in kind of as starters / backups, like wanted to see who would take a jump and take the starting role. and still I don't think anyone's taken it yet. But if somebody can step up and take that starting role,
They can be really good.
I think they can be a good team. I think they can make.
Nobody
it.
talks about them either. Like,
No,
they're the
no.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, nobody.
The only
talks
reason
about
people talked about them was whenever they did their stupid storm surges after each game.
it. Yeah,
That was really the only time I ever heard about them.
yeah. And Jordan Stahl's looking like he's young again.
We will go to the Dallas Stars.
So I have them as fake, just because they've lost the last 5 games. So there's that. The one promising thing is they actually don't have that many goals against, but they got 4 OT losses. So I am saying fake just because they don't seem to be doing that well recently. How can you really say real when they've lost the past 5 in a row? That's concerning no matter what. But otherwise, they seem to be okay. So I don't know.
Yeah, I also have them as fake. I wasn't high on them last year when they made the Stanley Cup run. Like I said earlier in the podcast, they started off the year a bit late into the season because of their COVID. They don't have Tyler Seguin, so that's the real hurt. I'm not the highest on Jamie Benn. I like their decor personally. I like Miro, Hiskinen. I like Klingberg. They got a solid goalie tandem. Bishop's arguably top 10 goalie in the league when healthy, and then they had their savior last year of Hudobin. Personally, I just don't think they have it. Too many injuries, too old, and yeah, I just have them as fake.
I think the Stars are fake too. They're probably the one team in this division that I have fake that I wouldn't be surprised if they were real, just because last year, like, sure, the first round is the first round, like any team can win, but past the first round, every single time the Stars were playing against someone, I thought they were going to lose. Like, I didn't think they stood a chance against Colorado in the conference finals.
I didn't either.
But like Noah just said, they were surprising in the playoffs. And I mean, they're not off to the hottest start this year, but there's still lots of season left. And if they were a team that made a deep run, they were probably, like I said, the one team in here that I'm putting as fake, but wouldn't be surprised.
We will move on to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
We can probably knock this one off.
I
real
think
quick.
we can all knock this off. They're real. They won the Stanley Cup last year. They didn't lose anybody. Sure, Kucherov's out. I think he's out maybe almost the
I
whole
think he's
year.
out all year.
Everyone here
I think
knows
he's
they're
gone.
real.
But they've
Yeah.
still been doing it without them. So we'll take them off real quick as real.
Yeah. If you're watching the podcast, you know they're real. They won the Cup. They're tops of the NHL again. Like,
Do you guys want to do Blackhawks or Panthers first?
I think we should end with the Panthers. We've kind of been
Oh, I think
hyping
we
the
all-
Panthers.
Okay,
up.
we'll go Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I got
think
them.
Wait, I think we all agree on the Panthers, do we not?
We probably do, but
Yeah,
So maybe
I
we should end on something we don't agree with.
we probably all agree on the Blackhawks too.
You guys, wait. We got.
I got fake Blackhawks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's talk about the Blackhawks. Yeah,
I got them as fake. They're not a great team. They have no goal. I won't say they have no goaltending. Their
they got
goal
Lankinen.
Lankinen, or however you pronounce it, has been pretty decent this year. But they also are aging. Duncan Keith's 37. I like a couple of their defense. They got a couple of young guys in there, but they announced earlier in the season that they're starting a rebuild. So I would not be surprised if all of a sudden we just see mid-season, Patrick Kane's been traded. Like, I would not be surprised at all. But sure, they've started off great, but I also believe that they're fake.
I think they're fake as well. Like Noah just said, I totally agree. They're definitely in a rebuild. They have some pieces like what'd you call him, Democrat, and people like that. If this goalie can be legit, that's also another step in the right direction. But they're definitely not a contender. I mean, I see them being better than the Red Wings and the Predators, but that's about it.
All right, so I have them as real, just because they are 4th in the division. They are in a playoff spot. They won the past 2 games. Their goals against isn't great, isn't bad. They're -1, but in comparison to the teams below them, I don't see why you're optimistic about anything below them more than where they are at right now. And
I think the Blue Jackets are better than the Blackhawks.
so. I don't know about that. I disagree with that just because I don't like Ferrero for one, and two, it seems like they're not Ferrero. Tortorella, sorry.
I like Tortorella. He's my style of coach.
I also don't like the fact that they've got so many goals against. I don't like Columbus that much. I don't like Dallas. I mean, I said both of them were fake, I believe. So yeah, for that reason, I say Chicago is real. Did you have Columbus and Dallas as fake or real?
I had the Columbus as real.
Okay, so that would make sense why you'd put Chicago as fake. But yeah, I'd have to say they're real just because they are still doing better than Columbus. They've won the past two, whereas Columbus has lost the past two. They have a better differential. You know, stats wise, they're doing well, and Kane seems to be doing really well. And yeah, is there anyone that's coming back off injury for them sometime soon, or are they just kind of?
I don't know.
This is their team.
This is their team.
I mean, we can all agree that the Lightning, the Panthers, and the Hurricane are probably the top three.
Yeah.
And then you'll have like the Blackhawks, the Stars, and the Blue Jackets fighting for the last spot probably. So,
So moving on to our last team.
Did you
of
talk
the
about the
video.
Blackhawks?
I did, yeah.
It's interesting about Chicago, Columbus, and Dallas is all three of them have 4 OT losses. So you know they're all fighting.
Those are gonna like, especially when you're in your own division, playing your own division every time. OT losses are gonna come back to bite you in the butt.
For
Like
sure.
four overtime losses, like you could look at the end of the year, and those aren't just 1 point swings; they're like 3 point swings because you're only getting one, and the other team's getting two.
For sure.
So for the Panthers, did we all?
I think we all have them on real.
Yeah.
I have them as real.
I do too. They're like an under the radar team. But Bobrovsky seemed to have been playing better. He had a bit of
I hope so.
off season last year. You know, they're paying him $10 million a year to be a top goalie.
He should be playing well. I like their decor with Ekblad and Yandel being the top two there. I like their forward group. Nobody talks about them though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So personally, I have them as real.
Go ahead, Max.
Real as
Habanero.
real can be. Yeah, I would have to say.
Real as real can be.
I would have to agree with everything Noah was saying. I think they're a pretty safe pick right now.
Yeah.
Considering, you know, they're 9-2. They have one less loss than the Tampa Bay Lightning, and you know they're definitely up there.
Yeah, I'm basically just gonna reiterate what Max and Noah said. Like, they're real. Earlier in the podcast, I think they got the best coach in the league right now. Well, he should win maybe not best coach, but should win the award. Their defense is solid. Hopefully Bobrovsky comes back to playing like Bobrovsky. Their forwards can get it done. And like I said earlier in the podcast, I think it was just the Atlantic Division that was holding them back. And I can't wait to see what they do when they get their chance.
So that is going to be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit the likes button. Subscribe to never miss a podcast. We'll be back on Saturday, and we'll see you then.
See ya.